Alright, hi everyone. I'm going to go through and do a step-by-step process on how to install and configure your own cloud services similar to DropBox and Google Drive using this open source program called ownCloud. I looked around and I did a lot of reading. I don't know that much about MySQL and PHP and stuff, but I know that there are services out there that help you configure it really simply, and so I spent a couple of days figuring it all out, and so I'm just going to put it into an all-in-one how-to. So in this first bit, obviously we're just going to go and download everything that we need first. So obviously the first thing is we need ownCloud. So if you go down to install your own, over here for Windows you want the tar archive. Go ahead, download that, and you want the desktop client. Download that. A couple other things to make that I use is I use this Notepad Plus, and again it's free. So and it's an excellent alternative to Notepad. So go ahead, download that, and the last thing you might need is the 7-zip file to extract that ownCloud tar file. So again, go and download that if you need it. Last but not least, we need Apache, PHP, and MySQL for Windows. And an excellent program for this is this Wamp server. So go ahead and go to this page, go and scroll down. When you scroll down, you can download these. So I think this is the latest one. So the important thing is if you click on that, you can go and download it directly here as well, this link. The other important thing is that you must have this Visual C++ 2010. So you've got to install that, otherwise Apache won't run on Windows. So again, go ahead and download all of that, and then we'll go through and install it. So I need to download and install this. Oops, sorry. So I've downloaded everything else. So I'm just gonna save it, and go to. So this is everything we've downloaded. So the Wamp server looks like this. These are two different versions. That's the Notepad. ownCloud, when you download it, it'll be a tar file. When you extract it, it'll have its own folder, and it'll just look like that. So the first thing we need to do is install the C++. So install that. I'm just going to leave everything run real time so that you can see how long everything takes. So that's done. Now we can go ahead and install this Wamp server. So just go next, accept, next. You can change that if you want. I find it easiest to leave it as default. Yes. I'm going to create and install. I've already installed the Notepad, so if you want to go ahead and install that as well. And now we just wait for this to finish. So when you get to this, it says please use your default browser. You can change it if you want, but this is a clean install, so I've got no other browser, so I'm just going to go leave it. Would you like to install? Just go yes. You can put in all your information there if you want. I'm going to leave everything default. And if I go launch now, when we run the Wamp server, you'll see it'll go from red to orange to green. When it's green, it means that it is ready to go. So once it's green, the next part is we'll go through and do all the configurations for the server and the Apache config. So once that's running, what we can do is we can test. We can go up to HTTP, type in here localhost and I'm going to turn on intranet settings. And if you see this, that means that everything's up and running. So that's good. And then stay tuned. We'll come back and do all the configuration settings and install ownCloud. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is configure and put in a password, a root password for MySQL. So to do that, if you just click on the W, go to phpMyAdmin, what it'll do is it'll bring up the PHP settings, go into over here, MySQL, and then go privileges. Okay, so over here you've got privileges for the root user. So what we'd want to do, is click on edit privileges. So if you scroll, leave all that because it's the root user. Scroll down until you see password. And the thing is, you've got to remember this password, obviously, because if you don't, then you're in trouble. So put in a secure password. Type and hit go. Okay, so you'll see set password for root localhost. So we've set a password on MySQL for the localhost, so that's good. Okay, so okay, now that we've done that, we're going to go through and start to configure ownCloud. So what we'll do is we'll take the extracted folder. I'll copy that to go to where the Wamp folder is installed, and under www paste the whole folder in there, the extracted folder. Okay, so just while that's copying, okay, so when that's done, what we can do to test is to go back to localhost and then put in the folder directory in here. And what they'll do is that will allow us then to go in and create an admin account on my ownCloud here, and here you'll see configure the database, and that's why you need the user and the password. So what we'll do is, and it's just warning us that there's no OpenSSL, which is in security. That's fine at the moment because we're local. So to create an admin account, I'm just going to call it admin, create a password for it, leave ownCloud data, I'd leave the data folder, database user, put in the root and put in the password, sorry, that we used just before, database name. So the default database name is ownCloud. Okay, so the first usage, and we're in, and this is the ownCloud web interface. So obviously there's nothing in here. If you click on the little gear down here, this is the settings, so you can go admin. It's a little bit slow. I'm running an old computer, so I am finding it to be a little bit slow in responding. Okay, so you can change your settings here, like maximum upload size. Usually I'll change that to, let's just change that to 1 GB, and then go save. You can change it to wherever you want. It's just taking its time saving. When it saves it, yep, there we go, that's saved. Where else? You can go into apps. And these are the default ones that are installed. And so you can just look through and install these other apps that come with it. So like I said, it says third party. Go in here and create a new user. So to create a new user, just go and I want to make myself part of the admin group, create a new user, and then you can change. There's only one group. Okay, so now that we've got this web app happening, the web application going, create new users. I've created a personal user outside the admin user as myself. Go in and obviously in files, just have a quick look around. You still see that it's localhost only, but just play around with it a bit. So if I go upload a file, if I go upload that one, you can see that it uploads a picture. Let's just upload a couple. Unfortunately in here I can't seem to select multiple files, so that's why I'm doing one at a time, but you can see it's just copying them in, and there's this status bar for uploading, so just let that run. But once, like for instance that one there, let's it's uploaded. So in this browser, if I click on it, it'll create a preview. So that's pretty cool. So that's all done. So what we can go is, if you go into pictures here, sorry, just it's not always very responsive. There we go. So once you upload files, if you have data files, it will know it's a data file. If you have pictures, it'll automatically bring them up as a gallery. So that's pretty cool. And if we click slideshow, it's just a bit slow. This server is actually a bit too slow. So there it is, creating a slideshow. Of those 3 files, are very impressive. So I'll just stop that and go back. So that's just a quick look around in the using the web page. So what we're going to do from here is we'll go and install on the server as well. We'll actually go and install the client just to run it. It's easier to use, and then we'll go through and make configurations to the Apache config files so that we can access it from anywhere, and then we'll go through and secure it by setting up SSL. But you can also see once you uploaded those files, it actually puts them in this path, or you can change the path, but the data under the user. And if you go files, all the files get copied across to there. So, and then you've even got versioning. This one's got nothing as yet, but there's versioning available. So what I'll do is here I'll go and install. I want to run the client just on the server itself. So it's pretty easy. You just go through and run through the installer, run ownCloud. You'll see down here this icon looks, instead of like a Dropbox or Skydrive or Google Drive, it's a little cloud. At the moment we can't use HTTPS, so I'm just going to put in local host and then ownCloud, put in user password, next, and okay, it says connected successfully, finish, and it operates very similar to Dropbox. So what you'll see generally in here, it hasn't come up yet, but there's an ownCloud shortcut. It'll come up in your favorites. If you click to that, sorry, where's this? I'm going to bring up this ownCloud. Okay, so it's got a tick. So what we can do is, let's say I've just got pictures. I'm going to copy the Eiffel Tower and Hollywood. So if I copy that, go into my favorites, it hasn't popped up here, but it's there, the shortcut's there, and if I just paste it in here, you'll see that it's syncing with itself, but it's syncing. So when it's done, if we go into the web app, just refresh, the web app is a little bit slow to respond. But generally what we'll see is if we go into the files, we'll see what it's done is it's created a client sync folder where if you install the client app, everything under there, like a Dropbox folder, will sync with the server and other installations. And then when we go in here, you'll see client sync folder, and there are those two pictures. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move them all into the client sync folder, and if we were to refresh this, where's refresh? That's right, it does that every now and then, but it refreshes and it even pops up and it tells you that there's new files that will be synced, and if that was across multiple computers, they will all pop up just like Dropbox would. So if I go into pictures now, it's thinking heavily. So now that it's got a client sync folder and it's got multiple pictures, it kind of gives you this funny little preview on it, because it's a folder and that's the name of the folder. Just click on it, it'll go into that folder, and yep, it'll do the preview, and with the two new pictures. And again, you can do the slideshow, and if you're accessing this remotely, you'll be able to have a slideshow of all your photos, and it's stored on your home server. So yep, it's running through. And you'll see that's two new pictures. Perfect. So that's a quick overview of, and then obviously if you have music files under there, folders, it'll pick up in there, and we'll go through all this later. But if you go back to files, and so there you have it. Okay, so that's a quick overview of the web interface and the client app. We'll go through now and start configuring Apache files for external access. Okay, so now that we've installed ownCloud, everything is running, we've checked everything's running locally. Now it's time to go and do some configuration to Apache to allow access from other computers. So there's two ways of doing this. The easy way is if you click on the W here, go up to Apache, and you can go HTTP configure. What it'll do is it'll open the config file with Notepad by default. So go through here. A couple of things to notice is here. If you're not going to use SSL, which is not recommended, but worst case scenario is you can go and change the port number that Apache will listen to, so that it's not just the default 80. In other case, you can actually have more than one. So if we put in there 801 and save that, we will then also be able to access the website, but we would have to use the port number like so. So if we go localhost 8001 ownCloud. Sorry, after you save it, you have to go and restart the service for it to accept. So if we deleted 80, right, so actually what I'll do is a demo is if we can save that, restart the service. So when you restart, you'll see it goes orange, and then when it's green, it means it's ready. So what you'll see is that if we go here and go to localhost ownCloud, it should block us. It shouldn't. We should be able to get in. But if we go over here and we add in the port number, now it'll let us in with that port number. So that's a simple way of changing the default. So for this purpose, I'll leave them both, just for example, so I don't have to type in the port number. Just ignore these load modules for now. We'll get back to them later. There's an easier way to modify them. Go down here. You can see you can change your emails. So here, instead of localhost, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually punch in its IP address of this local machine, because if you wanted to, you could put in a name, but in this case, I'm just going to use the IP address. For 80, that's fine. For now, that's all we will need to do for now. So if you go save, let's go back here. I'm going to restart the service so that port 80 will work. Okay, so now what we can do is, instead of localhost, if I put in here the IP address, it will still work. So I can log back in. I'm just going to say yes. So, okay, so the other thing we want to do is go to, in this HTTP file, so we've added a listening port, we've changed the name server to the IP address, and the last thing we need to do is, if you go down and look for this document root, so that's where the document root is, go down to here, see where it says if you want it to be online, you have to put require all granted. So what I'm going to do is copy that and all granted, save it, restart it, orange and then green. Now test it again locally, just refresh, it'll work. A local network and test that. So go and put in this IP address in a different machine, which I actually have on a, you just can't see it, but I have running to test that it's working. So I know it's working. So that's fine. So I know that's working, so that's all you need to do to get that working. So that's all good. Okay, so a couple of things to do from here. One is if you want to access it remotely without SSL encryption, it's easy because we've already done the changes here. All you need to do is go into your router, modem router, and do a port forward. So it's actually listening to this port. It can be whatever port you want. It can be this port, and forward that port to this IP address, and then remotely you'll be able to access it. Not ideal. It's better than leaving on port 80. Not ideal, obviously, because all the information is sent across the internet unencrypted. Okay, so that's actually as easy, as simple as that, to get your own cloud running on a local server. So if that's all you wanted, to run everything locally, that's fine too. It's actually been pretty good. I've been using it personally to not using the web interface, but using the client sync locally, and it's been working well. I haven't had too many issues, although I've only used it for like 12 hours and just mucking around putting files, but it seems to be running quite well. So if you actually do want to use it via the internet, access remotely, which I'm presuming most people do, otherwise it wouldn't be that useful, kind of like DropBox and Google Sync and Skydrive, we need to create security for it, so that sent across the internet unencrypted. Okay, so